Welcome back to Taktik, and today we're going to complete our overview that we started months ago about the PDWs that came out this year and the past, the most recent ones at least. And today we're finally looking at the Krytac PDW. So the Krytac PDW, we'll do a front to back as always, actually comes with a silencer, a really nice one actually. I really like the silencer, licensed by Chris USA. It's got a lot of texturing and a lot of the details that make it stand out compared to other silencers that come with other guns. A very short Keymod Rail, typical of most PDWs. This is actually one of the shorter models. I think the G&G is actually shorter, the ARP families. It is shorter than the Ronin 6, but longer than the VFC. Your standard Krytac core, which honestly is the same across all Krytac guns, whether it's the LMG, the CRB, the SPR, the LVOA, apart from some licensing and some upper receiver differences, most internals are exactly the same. You've got the same hop-up unit, the same bucking, giving you the really great performance out of the box. Barrel length actually is about the same length as a CRB for the Canadian spec PDW. So this silencer is actually hiding a 285mm barrel. The silencer though is removable, so if ever you decide to get a shorter barrel, well, you can basically have a gun that's really set up for about this length here, including the flash hider. So that's for your setup if you're going CQB. This is actually a gun that will be pretty decent outside because of the barrel length. It's essentially a CRB in terms of performance. In the back, you have basically the battery housing in the PDW style stock. This is the only PDW up till now that we've had that actually comes with a metal battery housing. It could be a bit annoying to get into. There is actually an Allen screw that you need to get out, and then the cap comes off, but it's actually pretty secure. Tighten it down, it's not going to come off. All the others use clips, plastic clips that may or may not fall out. The battery that's inside here would be typically an 11.1, around 1,100 milliamp hour. There's not enough space for more than that, which is common for nearly all PDWs, apart from maybe like the KWA, which has the largest compartment. Everything in the back is metal apart from the pad itself, or the stock pad. The interface here, though, with your shoulder is actually rubber. The rest is actually plastic, but everything else is all metal. It's essentially, like I said, it's the same performance as any typical Krytac, which is actually pretty great out of the box. This is one of the PDWs I've liked the most, surprisingly. I like the Ronin a lot, but the PDW from Krytac actually I really like it. As always, we're going to test the gun with a PTS EPM, usually the mags that are most recommended with Krytac builds. Whether it's Krytac or VFC, PTS EPMs are amazing mags, usually fit most, if not all, guns. So, iPro on. So, out of the box, these guns usually shoot around 400 to 410. It is a quick change design, so technically if you just lift the gearbox out of its shell, you are able to change the spring relatively easily, or modify the spring then replace it. So let's try our on semi ambidextrous controls, which are actually pretty tight compared to others. Actually probably the best ambi selector up till now that we've seen on an electric gun. Pretty snappy as always. Given that this would most likely have a stronger spring compared to the SPR, it's not going to shoot as fast, but it is fast enough. The flat trigger is typical of most PDW builds these days. So let's run her in full auto. So a typical around 18 to 19, I'd say even 20 rounds a second, which is actually the norm these days. So this was basically our overview of the PDW from Krytac, one of my favorites. So this is Gabriel signing out.